Good Sunday morning, everybody. Hello. Nice to see all your faces this morning. I have a very special guest artist today and a friend of mine, Mr. Scott Drier.
Good morning. Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with my blues on parade. Now I'm not afraid, 'cause this rover crossed over. And if I never have a cent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny, sunny side of the street. With those blues on parade. Now I'm not afraid, 'cause this rover crossed over. And if I never had a cent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side. Yeah, it's the money side. On the sunny side of the street.
Please welcome to the Bema, Reverend Dr. Keith Cox.
Good morning, everyone. So happy to have with us today Scott Drier as our guest musician. We can clap for Scott. Along with the incomparable Andy Belling.
Thank you.
The incomparable Andy Belling.
Incomparable.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So the clock has changed. I just went blank on what it was called. The calendar. The Gregorian calendar has rolled again, and here we are finding ourselves in the year 2020. And so as a community and an organization that understands that the nature of nature is change, we're going to have some changes today. So I hope you guys are ready for that. It's mostly in the order of service, and so there's a handout that you have at your chair that has the new order of service with the new songs that we're doing, and so I want you to be aware of that. So if you'll just take a moment and turn off any electronic device that you have that would be ringing. You can take pictures, you can video, you can photograph, you can live stream, but we would prefer that you not answer any phone calls or text or hear a ringy-dingy-dingy. And a big hello to those watching us online and live stream from there. So to kick off the next part of our service, we're going to have Scott sing another song for us. Let's welcome back Scott Drier.
You bluebirds in the spring to give your heart a song to sing, and then a kiss. But more than this, I wish you love. And in July, a lemonade to cool you in some leafy grave. never be. But with my best, my very best, I set you free. I wish you shelter from the storm, a cozy fire to keep you warm. But most of all, when snowflakes fall, I wish you love. My hopeful heart and I agree, the best of life is yet to be. So with our best, our very best, let's set love free. I wish you shelter from the storm, cozy fire to keep you warm. But most of all, when snowflakes fall, I wish you love. I wish you love. I wish you love.
Drier, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. What a beautiful song. So please indulge me as I'm drinking hot tea. I have a tickle in my throat right now. So the lyrics that spoke to me from that song that Scott is singing was to set love free. Was that the right? That was the exact lyric. And so one of the things that I'd like for us to focus on today and in the year 2020 is to set love free. Love, not just in that context of the human emotion, but love from a perspective of, as Dr. Ernest Holmes refers to love, which is the self-givingness of spirit, whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself. And the only way that I can do that is through the individual, through you, through me, through any sentient being, really. And anyone that has the awareness of love in the human form or love in the emotional form has the capacity to use that power in a way. That power, one of its qualities, is indeed love. And so leading up until today, we've been doing a ritual every Sunday morning called Calling in the Light. And we're moving beyond that ritual today to a new one that I'll get into in just a moment. But within that ritual every Sunday morning, oftentimes we would speak of the qualities of God. And their peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. You and I are each imbued with those qualities. And we get to express them with our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our interactions with life. That's how it works and how we fall into the role of being a consciously awakened metaphysician. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles, we practice primarily the teachings of Dr. Ernest Holmes, who created a teaching called The Science of Mind. The essence of that teaching, as I was explaining it last night to a new friend, is that we live in a universe that is infinite by nature, beyond how we can mentally comprehend it. It's infinite by nature. That infinite universe, the infinite universe, exists because there's a power within it. That power is equally infinite by nature, while at the same time it individualizes itself as you, as me. And that we use that power through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, our interactions with life itself, how we use it from that perspective through our minds. In other words, how we express the power and how we experience the power is how we get to know the power itself. There's another layer to that, is that we live in this universe that is governed by spiritual law. Now, we know that there are physical laws exist, right? An apple can drop out of a tree, hit you on the head, and you realize gravity exists, right? So that's a physical law. A spiritual law is that how you tend to the way that you think and believe and act and react and interact with life itself will show up in form, in physical form, in your world, your individualized experience of the world itself. So to distill that all down means that we play a vital role in the co-creative process of the experiences that we have in life, but we do it not because we want to alter the experience. We do it because as we become more clear on who we are as a co-creative being, then the experience must follow. So today, the way that we're going to light our candle, which symbolizes the light that exists in the universe, is by focusing on peace. Personally, I'm aware that in today's world, I think the more and more and more that we focus on peace and live from a place of peace, to express peace, then the more apt we are to be able to experience it in a broader level, because we're all interconnected. Now, I can also tell you that as a human walking this planet, there are certainly moments when it's challenging. So you and I have the opportunity today to move into our consciousness in a deeper way, a declaration, a demand, if you will, to be a more peaceful being. And peace is one of the qualities of the divine that I spoke of earlier. So I'm going to invite Wendy Waris, one of our members, up to be our illuminator of today. We're going to roll with this a little bit to see how it feels when it's time to light the candle. But we're going to begin in song through an affirmation song called Let There Be Peace on Earth. You have the lyrics before you, and Andy's going to take us through that along with Scott. So shall we begin? So as Wendy lights this candle, let's let the flickering flame be a reminder to us of the flame that exists within, the light within. Not just within me or within you, but within all of humanity. Those that we agree with and those that we disagree with. That we we are at the pinnacle moment to transcend the past by choosing anew. And so I invite you to close your eyes, and as if you're holding a candle in one hand, extending that flame to ignite a candle and a hand outreach towards you, begin to see in your eye, the eternal eye, someone that you've never met, that believes differently than you. Someone who may be living in Iraq or Iran right now in fear. As that candle is then turned to light a candle for one of our service people who may be on a plane right now, headed somewhere, wondering why. And seeing them extend that their candle to a loved one that is in pain. And seeing them extend the candle as it ignites the candle that shows up for them as a child yet to be born into this world. And it's by using our creativity and our imagination in this way of honoring this interconnectedness that we have with humanity, that peace does indeed begin to exist on earth. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. The thing about the lyrics to this song, and if you've been around the teachings of the science of mind, and certainly churches known as Religious Science International or United Churches International or UCSL or ICSL or whatever it is, you're fairly familiar with this song. It's a song that most of these churches or communities close their service with on a Sunday morning, and we did as well at the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science. And it was one where we would end the service with the intention of going out and engaging in peace. The last lyrics are, "And let it begin with me." Meaning that as individualized expressions of the totality or the wholeness of life itself, that power that exists in the universe, that the only way that we can invoke change on this planet, just as Mahatma Gandhi is credited with saying, there's quite much controversy as to whether he did or didn't say it, is to be the change that you wish to see in the world. And I think it's beyond that. It's be the change that you wish to experience in your world so that the world gets to experience that which you're choosing to be. This week, we're kicking off the beginnings of the first Sunday in January. As I said before, it's the first Sunday of the third decade of the 21st century. That's a big concept. You guys believe that? I mean, yeah, we'll just let it be that that's a big concept. And so we're going to start taking a look at the 4 chapters of the book, The Science of Mind. But I want to begin with this quote. "The alchemist is the one who transforms and energizes into higher frequencies of light and love. They are the bringers of a new dawn, transmuting the old paradigms into a higher intelligence and order. They act solely for the highest good of all. Love is the only master to answer to." Those, in essence, were the lyrics that Scott was singing about a moment ago. Mostly, I'm sure, when those lyrics were written, it was around the romantic eros aspect of love. But what we're being told here in this quote is that the alchemist, the individual that understands the power that you have within you, alchemy is taking that which is dark in your life, matter that is not really wanted but exists whatsoever. In alchemy, we're speaking simply of the matter, but if you look at it from a metaphysical perspective, it's the darkness that exists within your subconscious, the actions, the patterns, the experiences, the way you've expressed your life that contradicts your divine nature, which you've heard me talk about already, is the peace, power, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to keep going on that one every Sunday. We'll say peace wisdom. How about that? So that exists within all of us. It's when we are using that power to contradict our divine nature, then we are not being an awakened alchemist. But the alchemist, which you and I are, if we choose to be that, is the one who transforms all energies into a higher frequency. Now, I've been speaking over the last year and longer regarding frequencies in the context of the teachings of Dr. David Hawkins around how we have the ability to transform and transmute our mind into form by shifting the vibrational frequency of our mind. In other words, by evolving in consciousness to a higher frequency, we must then be participating in changing our experience, because all experience reflects our state of mind. So we're being told here that one is the alchemist, one who's consciously using their power to eliminate darkness into gold, if you will. That's what the alchemist does. Gold representing the highest form or frequency of consciousness that you can tap into. Here he's saying those are then frequencies of light and love. And in so doing, we are the bringers of a new dawn. In other words, we're being a participant in the co-creation process of manifesting a new state of being that is a reflection of the state of mind that we've chosen to do. And in so doing, what shows up is a new paradigm. In other words, new states of mind, right? And then what supports that is higher intelligence and order. Now, I'm sure that the majority of you in the room here will agree with me that based on just what's been taking place in our physical world of late, it is time for a new paradigm, and it is time for a new order that reflects a higher intelligence. And if we do nothing more than right now, make a covenant and a commitment to ourselves to live as peaceful beings, to choose to engage in peace, and when we are in a situation that is contrary to that, to stop it, forgive ourselves, think anew, and use our power in a way to reflect that we believe that love, the self-givingness of the thing itself within us, whose desire, if it could have desire, is to express more of itself, wisdom, right, through us, right, and that we get to do that, then indeed we are participating in creating that order of a higher intelligence. The first chapter of this book called The Science of Mind, that is a compilation of writings by Dr. Ernest Holmes that was published in 1926, is titled The Thing Itself. The Thing Itself. Now, if you have any familiarity whatsoever with our philosophy and faith and way of life as the science of mind, you know that he's referring to what in traditional religions is called God. Now, some may find that term, the thing itself, quite blasphemous. And if you do, that means you're in the right place. Because you have the opportunity before you today to reframe your understanding of the very power itself. Because as I've said here almost every Sunday morning and this at the Bema here, is that we know in this teaching, philosophy, and faith and way of life that it matters not what you call the thing itself. But if you desire to find personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, it matters greatly that you call it. And you call it often and more often and more often, in the context of affirming that the thing itself is alive and well in you, waiting for you to give it instruction to be set free, to let your dreams come true in your life. But before that can happen, you must create consciously that intimate relationship with the very thing itself, which then later in the month we'll move into the other three chapters, which are the way it works, and then what it does, and then how to use it. So today, if you're here for the first time, and I know some of you are, and I welcome you to being here, or if you've been here many, many, many times, I invite you to open your mind and your soul and your heart and your being to be receptive and trusting to hear what is being said today in a new way. Because you're in a new frame of mind. You're in a new frame of mind as a conscious being awakened to your personal self-empowerment and that spiritual awakening that's being called for. In the book, The Science of Mind, Jean Houston writes the foreword that says this: "The science of mind offers us the passion for a new possibility along with the precise and clear directions for building a new matrix of mind and manifestation." I personally could read that paragraph over and over and over and over again, because what she's telling us here is this very teaching, this philosophy, this faith, this way of life, this thing that I absolutely adore and love and keep coming back to, obviously, because I get up at 5 o'clock on a Sunday morning to come here and share it with you and share my wisdom regarding it, that it's just this set of brilliance that's written in words, but the words are only put into context so that it can give us the opportunity to awaken within ourselves an understanding of our own power as a spiritual being, which has then the ability, when we do that, to impact our humanity, ultimately creating this ripple effect or this wave out across the universe that does exactly what it tells us we're here to do, which is to manifest more good, to release more love, to be more in alignment with our divine nature, and to use these laws of life in a way to propagate that. But this teaching, Jean Houston Wright says, it offers us the passion for a new possibility. Now, passion for me is a word that I heard a breakdown of it years ago, is that pass I on. So if we're living from passion, it means that we're passing that divine nature that we have within us and our awareness of it on to others. Just like the exercise that we did with the candle, lighting the candle, lighting the candle. That is one living from their passion. And she's saying here that this ignites really within us the passion for a new possibility, along with precise and clear directions for building a new matrix of mind and manifestation. In other words, what she's telling us is that with this teaching, because it's not dogmatic, it's not doctrine, it's information, brilliant information, that says the more we tend to our mind, and our mind is one with the only mind that exists, and there's a power that gives that mind life. Ernie's calling it the thing itself. But the more that we tend to that, right, we have the opportunity to expand our consciousness to be more reflective of that only mind that exists, because anything and everything that could ever exist in mind already exists in mind. Not that we're thinking anew, but by opening our mind to our divine nature, we are revealing that which already has been, always has been, and in so doing, our mind gets blown and stretched and expanded, right? And as that happens, also known as an evolved consciousness, what then happens is we experience new manifestation. Well, why is that? That is because the law of life is always working. It is always bringing through us. Now, if you notice, I didn't say to us, through us, in physical form, exactly what's taking place in our individualized expression of the only thing that there is, which is mind. Now, that's a big idea, right? Don't you think? That's a lot. That's a lot to wrap your head around, and yet that is exactly what is required of us to do, to wrap our head around it. And then to look at our life and go, what's going on in my head? Well, like, oh shit, that was, like, whoo, I like that, right? But that's the way it works. And as we look at it and go, the OS, or yay, that's great, then we can take a step back and go, all right, how do I want to tweak the matrix of my mind so that what shows up, I'm like, yes, happy, 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 happy. I'm doing good work in my mind. But what that all comes down to is you have to mind your mind. You have to tend to what's going on. It's important for us to know that the science of mind, as she continues to write, shows us how to activate our constructive imagination and how to hold in thought and feeling the intention and energy of healing, holding, and creation. What she tells us is the second layer of this aspect of our teaching, is that once we understand that the thing itself exists, and that we both process it, express it, and experience through our minds. In other words, our minds have power, and the universe exists, and within the universe is spiritual law, bringing forth an experience of what's going on in the totality of our mind. And once we become aware that we're aware of that, it's not enough to just go, all right, that happens, now what? To then focus our mind on healing. What does that mean in terms of this teaching? It means, as Ernest Holmes says, healing is revealing. In other words, it's to focus on being clear on what is being revealed through us relative to our understanding and use of the thing itself and the basic principles of this teaching, of holding, W-H-O-L-I-N-G, which means to use our mind to reflect the wholeness that exists within us. I'm actually going to break them down now. In other words, so to look at peace, how am I living as a peaceful being? Power, how am I using my power? Beauty, not just appreciating the beauty from within, but igniting within the individual and expressing beauty. Joy, right? Funny when I don't just roll them off my tongue, I have to stop and think about them, right? Joy, how am I, the individual, living in joy, right? My acronym for joy is just open yourself. Just open yourself to what? To the divine that exists within. All right, we got peace, power, beauty, joy. Light, right? So light. So how am I expressing my light? I just gave you an exercise and a tool to give you a visual, a constructive imagination, if you will, as Gene Houston tells us, to pass your light on into the world. You can walk through the aspect of life, of humanity, of your day-to-day activities by literally walking up to someone on the sidewalk and see yourself passing the baton of the light. That within itself creates a change, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just woo-woo stuff that exists because we know in our teaching and in life itself, every action has a reaction. And so if you're expressing your divinity by passing your light on to each other as you go through life, the energy itself precedes the action. Ernest Holmes tells us that consciousness precedes you showing up. Consciousness is simply just energy. So then choose to make sure how you show up is as a whole divine being. You know, in this teaching, we hear all the time that you are perfect, whole, and complete just as you are. You know, and for many years, in my mind, I was flipping them the bird when they were saying that, right? Because like, who are you to tell me that? But move beyond the bird and take a step back and say, okay, what do they mean by that? And is it true? And from a spiritual perspective, it's actually true. You are perfect in every aspect of who and what you are. You're whole just as you are. And complete, meaning that there's nothing that can be added to or nothing that can be taken away from your spiritual nature. You can do nothing to be more of a spiritual being. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't do more to experience or express your spirituality, but innately within you, you're already whole, perfect, and complete. And then she goes on to tell us the last thing of this is that we use our constructive imagination and how to hold in thought and feeling the intention and energy for healing, holding, and co-creation. Co-creation. To remember that at all times on this journey of finding your spiritual awakening and in so doing become personally self-empowered, that you are a participant in the creative process. And you're a participant in the creative process as a co-creator, whether you want to be or not. So if you're not awakened to what you're co-creating, more than likely, it's not something you want. But yet, you know And you know, as I do, we all know that we have this power. So why not use it in a way to co-create the experience and the expression, the effects of life, the state of mind that we desire? Houston goes on to write here that we know that evolution is seen to follow involution, wherein we discover that our minds are stargates, our bodies are cells of mysteries, and that gives us the keys to an emerging phase of our existence. In other words, this evolution that we're seeking to be as a conscious evolution follows our involvement, and we get a direct correlation, a direct opposite of what we're doing in mind in form. In other words, we evolve to the degree that we involve ourselves in our evolution. And we do that by discovering that our minds are stargates. In other words, our minds are infinite by nature, that there is no beginning and there is no end to it. And that is the same for the universe. And yet we have the capacity to not only comprehend that infiniteness, but to also bring it all the way down into our own mind. As if we're putting the tiniest thread through the eye of a needle. And as we do that, we get to choose what golden thread we use to bring out on the other side, to weave a tapestry of experience in life that is our life, that is a reflection of our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our understanding of who we are as spiritual beings and how we use the thing itself. That this book, this teaching, this philosophy, it presents to us a foundation of the teachings of the science of mind, obviously. But it's important for us to know that we have choice at all times in life. And Houston goes on to write in the foreword of this book that now we have this information, now that we resonate with this spiritual truth, now that we've practiced this philosophy and faith and way of life at some point or some degree in our life. To know that we have no choice then but to democratize greatness and to utilize the whole continuum of human and divine potential. What she's saying here is that now that we know that this exists, it is incumbent upon us to introduce a system and make accessible to everyone that greatness is possible within the individual. And every individual has the ability to utilize the whole continuum of human and divine potential. So today, I invite you to ask yourself, where in the continuum of your life have you used your human and divine potential to transcend a false belief, to transcend a limiting idea, to transcend a time when someone told you that you couldn't because of your gender, your age, your sexual orientation, how you showed up in life, some previous behavior, or just some crappy idea you had about yourself. And then to tap into this philosophy, this faith, this way of life, known as the science of mind. Because it tells us that what you desire to experience in life within the realm of possibility is not only possible, but it's expected of us as we become awakened to know what it is and who we are. Gene Houston closes the foreword of this book that leads us into the first chapter called The Thing Itself with this: these are the times. We are the people. This is the book that can help us do it. It was first published in 1926. It's equally as true today. So I ask you, now that you know, and know that you are the thing itself personified, that your mind has power, that you're not bound by any chronology prior to this moment, nor are you bound by any perception of the chronology to come. What are you going to do with these times and in these times? Knowing that we are the people, not meaning people that practice the science of mind, meaning humans, individuals that have awakened to their divine potential. That is you, that is me. What are we going to do? Are you going to sit on your hands? Or are you going to stand up, shout, do spiritual mind treatment, be the change that you desire? Today is a new day. I love this little meme that says, today is a new day. You can start fresh, wipe the slate clean, and begin again. Today, you can embrace kindness, practice compassion, stand up for justice, talk to strangers, ask for help, offer hope, listen with your heart, work for the common good, love well, and you can be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. So next in our new order of service is conscious giving. We're going to do it a little different than how we've done it before. So just open yourself up to that experience. So prior to me giving you the instruction on how it's going to look, I just want to thank you in advance for your supporting this ministry and this community financially. If you're watching us online, thank you as well. The methods of which one can give financially here is through cash or check or credit card. If you'd like to physically use your credit card, you can see someone at the welcome table in the back. They'll be happy to do that for you. Or you can do it electronically. The electronic methods are you can go to our website, which is csl-la.org, click on the donate button, or use the app in the App Store. And so that can be done now. If that's good for you at any other time that you feel compelled to do so, please know that it's greatly welcome. So I'm going to have our ushers, which will be board members, come to us, come forward. We're going to have Dr. Sheila Hughes and I believe Connie Schneider today. They're going to position themselves on the end here. Connie will be where Wendy is. Dr. Sheila will be here. And we're going to let you all pass from one to the other, and they'll retrieve them in the back. So are you guys good with that participation? Now, while that's taking place, we are also going to sing a song. We've changed the song up, and it's called Love Is My Decision, and the lyrics are on the bottom of the page that says Order of Service. And so let's just take a moment and take a deep breath in as you're preparing yourself to give. Realizing that you are indeed giving from the place of understanding that you are the thing itself, and we live in a universe that is abundant by nature, and you are indeed abundant by nature as well. Okay, let's begin. Please feel free to sing along. So he's going to, guys, they're going to pass, okay? No, Jesus, all the way across.
Love
all the way across.
Is my decision.
Went over it 4 times.
It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. Everyone else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, the source will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. Love is my decision.
Sing along, please.
Is my decision right here and now.
Well, thank you. So as a community, we have some things happening, and this portion, as opposed to doing announcements, we're going to give you a brief overview of what's happening here. So we have a dance class that takes place on Fridays. My new class begins January 16th. It's on how to change your vibrational frequency in life using the essence of Dr. David Hawkins. It'll be a 2-week class here, 7:15, 7:30. Not to be ambiguous, but you'll understand that in the next piece. The first 2 weeks are free, and then there'll be a accredited class after that. If you'd like to know more information about what takes place in our community, you can find out that information the following ways. Tuesdays, there is an email that goes out. If you're receiving that, great. If you'd like to get on the list and you're not, you can sign up in the back. You can go to our app in the App Store, CSL-LA is the app in the App Store. Our website is csl-la.org. All of this information will be there, as well as it will be on the television in the back on the screen there. So know that you can avail yourself to all of that information. I'm going to share with you who has stepped up today to be in service. I'd invite you to hold your applause till I give you the list of all of them. Okay? So we have Jesus Ernesto Reis doing both Facebook Live and setup, along with audio for Travis Smith. I was your practitioner of the day, and our illuminator is Wendy Waris, as you were so wonderful to get to experience that with her. Our board member on duty today is Connie Schneider. Our welcome table, is Gary Bond is our board member on duty. Connie Schneider was at our welcome table and will be so in the back if you'd like to see her as well. And a big thank you to our musicians, Andy Belling and Scott Drier. Let's give them all a round of applause. So I would like to invite Scott up to give us, no, is that right? Next, let me look. Yeah, that's right. Actually, the meditation's next. Right, yeah. But why don't we invite Scott up next? I feel like that's the right thing. I knew all along that was in the wrong order. So we're gonna have Scott sing us a song, and then we'll close out. Know that there's coffee and pastries and stuff out there for you after the service. So let's welcome Scott Drier back.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with string. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee sting, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
Thank you, Scott. I need that piece of paper. So we're going to close in meditation. So I invite you to close your eyes. Just begin by feeling a sense of joy for embracing the experiment of something new today. I'm going to share a reading with you. I invite you to hear it as each word says you, literally meaning you. You may think that you are completely insignificant in this world, but someone drinks coffee from the favorite cup that you gave them. Someone heard a song on the radio that reminded them of you. Someone read the book that you recommended and plunged head first into it. Someone was touched by a movie because you suggested it. Someone smiled after a hard day's work because they remembered the joke you told them. Someone loves themselves a little bit more because you gave them a compliment. Never think that you have no influence or impact whatsoever. Your trace, which you leave behind with every good deed, cannot be erased. So now, giving permission to our imagination, our constructive imagination, we begin to see in our mind's eye ourselves using the thing itself in a new way. By giving the compliment, sharing our knowledge, letting someone know we love them, and being the first to say, I'm sorry. It's from this place that we become empowered as we awaken to our spiritual nature. And so today, yes, there is peace on earth. And it has begun with each one of us. It's the peace that was meant to be. And with every step we take, we let this be our solemn vow that peace begins with each one of us. And so as we extinguish the light of the candle lit today, we ignite it in our own hearts and let that be the guiding light as we move out into our life and about the day. And we say together, and so it is. Thank you. Have a beautiful Sunday and a beautiful week.